I don't know if there is a problem here. See, everything looks good on my end. So I can like record it. I can see it when I do the mic test thing. Let's see. Like when I do the mic test thing, I can see it here. So it's kind of.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. How are you today? It, of course, is another wonderful day here in the Crigler studios, coming to you live from the Crigler show in my new setup. I don't know if you guys saw it yesterday. It's a brand new spot. Today, I have the farm engineer with me today. He's actually still trying to get his mic figured out. So he's going to be joining me at hopefully as soon as he can. But I'm just going to introduce what we're going to be talking about today. I have a couple subjects that I don't even think he might not know about, but I have to talk about it. It's absolutely ridiculous. So in Loudoun County, a lot of you know that this is where there's basically one of the hot spots of the battle between the parents opposing critical race theory and trying to fight the school board to not have them force it upon their kids. Now, there was a dad that was arrested very publicly, and they shared the video. The video went viral. And it turns out this dad had a very terrible story of what happened to his own daughter that the school board was trying to cover up. And it is very sad. You know, his daughter was raped in the bathroom. This freshman. By a gender fluid person, and it's terrible. They're covering it up. They're trying to push it anyway. And it's absolutely insane that this man would have gotten arrested because he was standing up and fighting for his daughter who got raped in the bathroom. It is absolutely he's one of the reasons why the FBI is now considering these parents opposing critical race theory as domestic terrorists. They cite him, all right, because of his arrest. They're like, look, this dad got arrested, domestic terrorist. Yeah, well, he was pretty pissed off about what happened to his own daughter in the school. There's a lot more details, but we're going to get into that. And hopefully Farm Engineer is going to be able to join me when we start talking about the food shortages. We're talking about all of these cargo containers that are off the coast of California. Actually, they're on the East Coast as well. Hundreds of cargo containers just waiting to get in, and they're not coming, you know, and the food is becoming more and more scarce as we move forward. And it's frightening. It's not just food. It's everything. Okay. Let's see if I can bring him in. Hey, how you doing, Farm? Can I hear you?
Let me see if you can hear me.
I can't hear you still.
You still can't hear me.
Can't hear you.
Can the chat hear me?
That's unfortunate. All right, so he's still trying to work on his mic.
All right, chat.
I would love. He's here. He's here, but his mic isn't working for some reason. So we're gonna be, you know, hopefully by the time I get to that segment, I could do the Loudoun part. You know, I could just kind of roll with it. Hopefully you can talk, because I know that you have a lot. I asked you to, you know, look into this food pricing, the rising and falling of the prices. And you sent me a couple articles. I actually have them up. So we'll get into that in a second.
Absolutely.
And then I want to talk about mandates. Okay. Look, basically what I've discovered and what I've read is the mandate was just simply him saying, I mandate.
Wow, that's fast.
It's almost as ridiculous as Michael Scott screaming, I declare bankruptcy. I'm serious. Like, it doesn't work that way. There's actually no executive order to force mandates on anyone. In fact, there is a Republican congregation that is waiting to sue, waiting to bring it to court. But in fact, there's nothing to bring to court because it's actually not law. Despite what Jen Psaki says. In fact, I have a video that was recently posted about it.
Oh, no.
Oh, wait. Chat can hear you? Why can't I hear you then?
It might be your headphones. Oh, wait. It doesn't really work if I tell you. I don't know.
Hold on. Okay, so.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I don't have him muted. He's not muted.
This is the
I
government.
don't understand.
We're being attacked right now. We're being silenced.
You're not muted on my end.
I don't know.
This
Yeah,
doesn't make
everyone
any
else can
sense.
hear me though.
I can't hear you.
Well, as soon as we figure out what
All
this
right,
issue is, this is going to be a
that doesn't
banger.
make
So no
any
worries.
sense. Okay, look, guys, I've worked with this program for over a year, and there's nothing out of place. He is not muted.
Spooky.
It says I can click mute mic and unmute mic. It even shows on the screen that he's muted. Now he's unmuted, but I cannot hear him. How do you guys hear him and I can't? That doesn't make sense. My headphones are connected.
I don't know, man. By the way, audio engineering.
The tab isn't muted. My audio is set to where it should be. This doesn't make any sense, guys. All right. That's unfortunate because I really want... yeah, I know he can hear me.
Yeah.
My mixer is routed. It's only the headphones. I mean, I turned them on and off. It's centered. Oh, well, this is unfortunate. All right,
yeah,
so
I know.
at least you're not crazy. Okay, because I know that you were like really trying to figure it out. What the heck? This is annoying. Oh, you got multiple mics? Okay, well, my mic works. That's I feel like such a boomer right now. I can't there's nothing I can change.
They must have changed something.
My audio output is going to my headphones.
This is the new Studio Blues. That's what I call this.
New Studio Blues. Yeah, I don't understand why I can't hear you. Nothing is making sense. I'm going to just play another video. Just go to YouTube real quick and just make sure that my headphones are... Yep. All right. So my headphones are working. It's not my headphones. All right. So this is fun.
Spooky ghost.
I already tested. I can hear other sound. It's not him. He's not muted. You know what? Do me a favor. Leave and come back. Just in case, okay? All right. I'm going to take a sip of my Crigler coffee here. Oh my goodness, that is good. Have you guys tried Crigler coffee yet? Real question. I'm actually asking you. Like, have you tried? It's just so good. I love Crigler coffee. No joke. It is incredible. Let's see. I just want to make sure. I don't understand what's happening here. But honestly, while we're at it, I just want to say, oh, all right, here we go. I think I figured it out. Did it work?
Let's see if it worked.
Hey, I can hear you.
What was it? What was it?
I don't know.
That's
it worked though.
Dude, I work. All right, my job is to work with technology. Gremlins are real. Stuff just doesn't.
I can hear it now.
Audio is the worst of all of them.
Why? That is weird though. Hey, it worked. Now I can hear you. Welcome back.
I feel welcome. Thank you so much.
Oh, good. I'm glad we figured that out. I'm glad we figured that. That's great.
Yeah.
All right. So were you listening or were you able to hear me when I was talking about the other stuff that we're going to be talking about?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, it's not the most pleasant of things, at least the dad that in Loudoun County, that's really ridiculous, but we gotta talk about it. Because it's crazy how they're vilifying the parents. But anyway, this is the farm engineer. For those who don't know, he's been on my show a couple times. It's been a great time every single time. He is it's science engineer. I don't know. Yeah, I used to
be an engineer who was just default Democrat, and then Adam here pretty much red pilled me by going off on Timcast IRL, and here I am living in the middle of Tennessee now. So
yeah,
it's all on you, Adam.
Ah, well, I don't. I love it. I'm really happy about it.
Oh, it's outstanding.
It's good to know. So yeah, So let's get into it. We're going to be jumping right into this Loudoun story. Now this is really it's really depressing, honestly. Like when I found out about all of this, let me share this. This is so shout out to the Daily Wire because they have blown this up. Now it's behind a paywall, and I actually do pay for it, but I forgot. I couldn't. I was not 100%. I couldn't figure out how to get behind the paywall. So I actually have shout out to the Blaze because they kind of summed it up for us. So I'm just going to read this to you guys, and then we're going to discuss it because this is something we need to know about. Man arrested at Loudoun County school board meeting says officials covered up his daughter's rape. All right. Amid heated debate over controversial transgender affirming policies in Virginia's Loudoun County this summer, school officials concealed that a 9th grade girl was allegedly sexually assaulted by a gender fluid male student in a bathroom. I'm going to just mute that real quick. The Daily Wire's Luke Rosiak reported the girl's father, Scott Smith, was arrested during a raucous June 22nd school board meeting that shut down public comment from incised parents who had come to protest critical race theory and proposed transgender policies. Smith was charged with disorderly conduct and resisting arrest after he had an argument with a woman for whose daughter Smith's wife had been a Girl Scout leader. Smith's arrest was captured on video and went viral, calling national attention to parent protests at school board meetings. The National School Board Association cited his arrest in a letter to the Biden administration requesting that the Department of Justice classify threats and intimidation from angry parents as domestic terrorism. And in fact, they did. This is something that I reported on last week. This is the Attorney General here, and they did exactly that. They essentially have declared any parent that is against critical race theory as a domestic terrorist. Now, this man had every right to go up against the school board because of his story. Speaking of which, telling his side of the story publicly for the first time, Smith told the Daily Wire that he had been provoked by the woman who said she did not believe his daughter, and by Loudoun County school officials who had covered up the alleged sexual assault. The Daily Wire reported that while juvenile court records are sealed, Smith's attorney, Elizabeth Lancaster, said a boy at Stonebridge High School was charged with 2 counts of forcible sodomy, 1 count of anal sodomy, and 1 count of forcible fellatio related to an incident on May 28th, when Smith says his 15-year-old daughter was attacked in a school bathroom. Smith says that the boy wore a skirt when he entered the girl's bathroom and allegedly attacked his daughter. After the alleged attack, the administration called Smith to come to the school and told him it would handle the incident in-house. When he began to make a scene, as any outraged parent would, he says the school called police officers on him, and it was only after he managed to avoid getting arrested that he convinced police to escort his daughter to the hospital to have a rape kit administered. A records request from the Daily Wire confirms that a report titled Offense, Forcible Sodomy, and Sexual Battery was filed matching the date and location of the alleged assault. Later that day, the school principal sent an email to the community informing them of an incident in the main office that required a police presence. There was no threat to safety of the student body, the principal wrote. He offered counseling services for any student who was upset by Smith's behavior, but made no mention of the alleged assault. Do you see what they do here? They make it so that you are more focused on the fact that this father didn't burn it down because his daughter got raped in the school, right? They make him the bad guy. Somehow he's the crazy one. I mean, can you imagine, all you fathers out there, what you would do in this man's case? He didn't get arrested, which means he actually kept his cool. He didn't go kill the dress-wearing rapist that was at the school. Sorry, continuing on, LCPS washed their hands of this, Smith told the Daily Wire, adding that the incident was only taken seriously because of the sheriff's office. A spokeswoman for Loudoun County Public Schools said any information related to student information is confidential under state and federal laws regarding student privacy. According to Smith's attorney, the suspect made self-incriminating statements during an interview with prosecutors, and a conviction is expected imminently, likely in the form of a plea deal to a charge of felony aggravated sexual battery. School officials never publicly acknowledged the incident, even as the district debated adopting policies that would permit transgender students to use bathrooms that match their self-declared gender identity. During the June school board meeting, school officials told parents minutes before Smith's arrest that concerns about transgender students in bathrooms or locker rooms were a red herring, and that there were no records of assaults occurring in bathrooms. They did not inform the public of the alleged assault against Smith's daughter, which was reported to police 3 weeks earlier. But I got to just stop right there, because even right there, they're saying in the previous line that those aren't allowed to be seen. You can't look at, because they're children. They're not public. So of course there isn't the red herring. There's no records, because you're not allowed to look at the records of this stuff taking place anyway. So who are you going to trust? A father who's been enraged by having to take his daughter, who I trust his dad. Okay, of course he's enraged. I can't believe he didn't get arrested. I don't know what I would do. Now, I'm not a father yet, but hold on, my headset's dying. Excuse me. I don't know. This really upsets me, because they're trying to cover it up. They're trying to pass these policies which affect everyone. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking from just my own brief experience in public school, even in Maryland, right? Yeah. There was a violent incident against me that happened, and I saw the administration at work. It was a lot of take me into a back room with the person that assaulted me and says, hey, listen, if your stories don't match up, we got zero tolerance. It's going to be a suspension for both of you. But if you want that suspension to go away or to get smaller, it could be a 10-day or it could be a 2-day, depending on if your stories match up. And then the administrator left the room. Basically, it was like, yeah, make your stories match up. Like, talk with the person that beat you up and come up with a story so you don't get suspended.
I'm sorry, and left you alone in a room together.
Yeah, that is correct.
How long ago was this? Just curious.
Oh, this was when I was in high school in 2005.
Wow.
2005. Dude, it's the same as Title IX, right? It's the same as these tribunals that these schools have that are totally extrajudicial. It's about sweeping it under the rug. It's
exactly
disgusting.
It is disgusting. I mean, you were beat up, and now this is the next level of disgusting. And this is the reason parents are not wanting this. They're taking all these leftists that want safe spaces, but then not the bathrooms. That doesn't exist in a bathroom. Like look, there's always going to be predators. Okay. Always. Any human being has the potential to be a good person and has the potential to be a bad person. That has the potential to want to violate someone else's space for their own desires. All right. And that could be and any number of things. But in this specific example, his story is exactly why they don't want these policies in place. Women, like any girl, should have a safe place to go to. Look, hey, schools, if you want transgenders to have their own bathroom, do that. Okay. But saying anyone can, well, whatever you think you are, you can go to. Okay, so this rapist wore a skirt that day and said, I'm a woman, and then went and raped a girl in a bathroom. Oh, excuse me. Allegedly. But everything that they have said seems to point in the direction of that is exactly what happened.
Yeah, believe all women, man. They don't. They believe it when it's convenient. It's awful.
Until it's against someone that they don't want you looking at, like schools or Tara Reade, Joe Biden. Hey, Kamala, do you still believe Tara Reade? You said that you did last year. but now you're working with the man that you said was racist, that you were directly affected by it, and you believe all women, you believe Tara Reid. So what, you're cool with working with him? Right, because it's all about power for you. I don't want to get sidetracked talking about horrible Harris, because I could very easily do that. I want to continue reading this story. Smith stood there and listened as members of the school board lectured the public on how there was no issues involving transgender students, and that if a crime or violation of the rules were committed, that would be investigated and dealt with to the full extent of the rules or the law. Oh, well, can you imagine how that dad felt hearing that from the school board? Members of the public were permitted to speak, while many parents voiced their opposition to critical race theory and transgender policies. Other speakers who supported the transgender policies accused them of being hateful. One woman who attended, a left-wing activist named Jackie Schwerm, confronted Smith and his wife Jess, demanding to know which side they were on. Jess, a Girl Scout troop leader, had mentored Schwerm's daughter as part of her group. The Daily Wire reports that the confrontation between Smith and Schwerm, which led to Smith's arrest, unfolded as following. And this is, this is it. And they go off, and it ends with Jess crying out that my child was raped at school, and this is what happens. And that's really the key. I mean, are we supposed to just let it happen? Because they've already, in their own way, they've already said, hey, we're not allowed to even look at anything that does happen. And if it does happen, we'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. You're not allowed to know about it. And if it does happen to you, you're not allowed to talk about it, or else you're a domestic terrorist.
Man, here's some required watching for everyone out there. First episode of Chernobyl, the HBO special. The first episode of Chernobyl, a big explosion. It's constantly information's coming in that something terrible has just happened.
Yep.
Millions of people could die. Everything the authorities wanted to do in there was to keep it quiet.
Yep.
And they just couldn't. They just couldn't keep a lid on it.
That's a good point.
I made a tweet a little while ago, this whole supply chain crisis and everything that's happening right now. This is America's Chernobyl. They used to hide this stuff. This stuff used to happen.
Yeah.
Right? It used to be the captain of the football team or something like that was doing this kind of thing. Right. And they would hide it under the rug. Now the public faith in these institutions is gone to the point where a parent isn't going to say, okay, I'll keep it quiet because I don't want anyone to think badly of the school system. Now it's like the parents are like, burn it down.
Yeah.
And they should be. They should
be.
Be.
School choice. We need it absolutely more now, more than ever before. But we're gonna get into the whole supply chain soon too. Let me just finish reading this here.
Oh yeah.
So during an interview with the Daily Wire, Schwerm made contradictory statements denying that she had an argument with Smith, an argument that was caught on video, and also made repeated comments about Smith's daughter's mental stability, of course, attacking the victim, an actual victim, mind you. She also repeatedly brought up that Smith was convicted of a crime and sentenced to 10 days in jail. The arrest and subsequent negative media coverage of Smith has taken an emotional toll on the family. Smith told the Daily Wire he had to install temporary fencing around his house to keep news reporters away. On social media, Smith was mocked for his physical appearance and demonized for his arrest. Buddha Bibaraj, Loudoun County's progressive top prosecutor, personally appeared in court to prosecute the case against Smith. The Daily Wire noted that Bibaraj was elected on a platform opposed to mass incarceration, but sought to put Smith in jail for misdemeanor charges. Meanwhile, the 15-year-old male suspect who allegedly attacked Smith's daughter has not yet been convicted and is accused of sexually assaulting another girl at a different school. I'm not joking. They moved him to a different school and he did it again.
Oh my God.
All right.
Yeah, dude. Oh my goodness.
Again, he did the same thing. They quietly moved him to a different school to try to figure out the problem. They didn't suspend the two that's what happened with you. They straight up moved him to a different school and he did it again.
This is a narco tyranny. It's where it's the anarchy for one side and tyranny for the other one. One side can do no wrong.
Yep.
And it's almost like the one side that can do no wrong is used to terrorize the other side.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're right. If you're a Democrat, if you follow the narrative and you shill for the establishment. You're allowed to burn down the country. You're allowed to shoot people in your school if they bully you. You can rape people, and it's okay, because if you say anything about it, you're punching down. That's what they say.
Exactly.
No, we need to hold everyone accountable for any action that should be held accountable for. Period. I don't care who you are. That goes for Republicans, Democrats, centrists, libertarians, liberals. I don't care. If you do something illegal, if you cross someone else, you should be held accountable. Right? I don't care if you're a minority. I don't care if you're a person of color. It doesn't matter. Anyone. It doesn't matter if you're white or whatever. Like, because I guess white people are the only one who aren't people of color nowadays, or however they justify who is in their minority, marginalized groups.
They did that to Larry Elder, right? Like, that guy can be the face of white supremacy. White is just a social construct at this point to these people, right? Like, I'm half Asian. That actually makes me more white for some reason, somehow. I don't understand. My grades are better and I get more privilege. I was like, yeah, I'm quite.
Someone just said in chat, actually, voting will not stop this. And I'm inclined to agree. I've been constantly having conversations with people over the past couple weeks. And one thing that I always try to ask is, okay, what do we do? What do we do? Right? What is the answer to move forward? And Malcolm, we were having a conversation, Malcolm Flex, if you guys don't know who he is, shout out to Malcolm, very smart guy. We started talking about, we got to get into everything. Take over the school boards, take over local government. We got to build this base back, because right now, it does start with the individual. Jordan Peterson talks about this a lot, how, we have to be all accountable for ourselves. But once you get that base down, we can help others, right? These people on the left, they don't even care about themselves. All they're doing is projecting onto others and trying to force their ideology onto others and making these quick changes. But the problem is they have infiltrated everything already. Those people sitting on this school board telling this father that there's nothing wrong, nothing happened to his daughter, even though she got raped. Those are the people that don't care about you and I. They do not care at all.
All the sports ball big picture politics is there, to distract you a little bit from what's going on locally. And locally is what happens. If you think about the schools, you have kids in there from K through 12, years 5 until they're 18, 17, 18, right? That is, if I was an advertiser, if I was a cultural if I was trying to create culture, you've got kids for about 8 hours a day, fully captive 5 days a week for 13 years of their life. There's no way you could possibly. It is very difficult to reverse what happens in there. And I'm just thankful that the public school system is too incompetent to be actually properly brainwash people, because you still have that kind of culture in there.
I don't know if that's true anymore.
I don't know.
I feel like that might have been true.
Yeah.
Because like I was in high school. I was, you said you were in high school in 2005, right? So like,
correct.
We were almost in a different area. I graduated in 2002. That's when I graduated high school. So then growing up in the 90s, going into school through the 90s, like I felt like when people say make America great again, I think the 90s, that's what it feels like to me, the 90s, when anyone could make it. People were really working hard to be successful. And race wasn't even a conversation. Like anyone could have been whatever. We, look at the greats. Eddie Murphy was amazing. He's still one of the best ones out there. I still think it's ridiculous, but
that was back when Chris Rock was based.
Right. Exactly. What happened to him?
Hollywood, man. Culture, man. It's the blob.
That's the blob. All right, let's move on from this depressing subject. Let's talk about food and what is going on out on the water with all these ships. So I actually have, let me just show you guys this image. This is outside of California. This is something that you actually sent me. This is this just shows all of these ships. Now, this is from last month, and this is continuing on. This hasn't stopped at all. So
that That's bigger than I remember it. Yeah.
So, okay. So it's probably updated then.
Yeah. No, that update. So the link that I sent you, that is the primary source. So that's what all the news articles are going to be using. And
American
primary
shipper.
sources are always good.
Okay.
That tells you, and there's a little checkbox for if it's anchored or if it's in transit. And logically, I would hope that there's as many freighters going back, to wherever they're coming from as coming into the United States. But if you start to see more coming in versus coming out, that's a pretty easy measurement. I don't know what this looked like last year, last year, the year before. I don't know what normal looks like because I'm not a weirdo who just watches boats all day, right? There's only a few.
Good to know.
If I could tell you, like, oh yeah, no, this is the Kursk, this should be here, and then there's usually 18 boats, but now it's like 55. No, but you could take a look at the amount of time they're spending and the amount of boats that are coming in, and it is a massive mess. This is a huge mess. It's usually 6 to 8 weeks to get a shipment from China over to the United States, right? Okay. So from East Asia to the United States, 6 to 8 weeks, which means that there's a 6 to 8 week lead time on any problems that happen in that part of the world.
Good point.
And now we're seeing that stretched out even more because that 6 to 8 weeks is now stretching out to, I think the article I sent you said it was like 4 weeks. Some of them are waiting.
Here's I believe this is where you're going with the cargo ships anchored near West Coast ports could face a 4-week delay to dock, raising further fears over the global supply chain, a report says. This is happening on the East Coast too. Not only just, granted, for those who don't know, San Diego is, I'm fairly certain, is our largest dock. That's where we import most of the stuff on the West Coast of America. So this is a problem. I mean, all of our supply chains are just drying up. Just starting from computer chips alone, just GPUs, graphic cards, right? I mean, the 30 series is nearly impossible to get a hold of. PlayStation 5, you can't get these things anymore. And actually, Sony probably could have done a better job of transferring their factories from still making PS4s. They still make PS4s, by the way. I don't know if this is another subject, but they waited a couple months before they were like, all right, let's stop making the PS4 Slim and start making more PS5s because clearly people want PS5s. But that's another subject. But still, we think about the chips alone, not to mention, oh man, name something, right? Everything is, go ahead. You got a list. You got computer chips, you got rubber, you've got steel. Yep. You got copper, right? Which we don't make here anymore, remember.
No. And you have fuel. That's actually a good point. That's another thing that we made. We made it here like 2 years ago. Then we just stopped for reasons that I'm not going to get into. But yeah,
hold on. I want to say it because anything Trump did is bad, right? Biden would rather give our money to anyone else than to have anything that's good for America with Trump's name attached to it. Period. That's really what it is.
And I'm going to get right into it. You know what? I'm going to turn off my filter here. The reason why a lot of these oligarchs go to other countries is so they can skirt human rights laws and, environmental laws and everything. Antitrust law. You can be on a board in Shanghai or Suzhou or wherever, and you can make as much grift as you want. But if you do that in the United States, there's actually oversight. Over there, we never ended slavery in the United States. We actually just exported it because someone else is willing to work for bottom dollar. And I wish that we had some kind of rule that would say, if we have fair trade coffee, we have fair trade. We don't have fair trade consumer goods at all. Like, I wish I could just say, like, I got my bag over there. Actually, it came in like 2 days ago. It was like a kid at Christmas. I was like, when's my coffee coming in? Because my supply will dwindle, and I just get a bump.
Fair trade coffee.
Yeah,
anyway,
that's right. So
you're right, though, man. Just keep spitting. You don't want to stop.
No, man. Yeah, I had my coffee just a second ago. Let's go for it. They can do pretty much. The plantation owners are now just owners in stakes in other companies overseas. They can skirt whatever laws they want. Like they can skirt environment. Like, why is Greta Thunberg not in China? I'll tell you exactly why. Because the person that Greta Thunberg works for has stakes in Chinese companies, and because she's just here to try and stifle our own industry. That's the entire point. From what I can tell, you can see how red-pilled I've become. I would never say this like 2 years ago. The entire
I mean,
reason why
logic,
environmentalism
man, logic
Yeah.
though.
it's 100%. Yeah, it's
I'm environmentally friendly. I recycle
100%.
as much as I can. Your name is the Farmgineer. I mean, I know you are all about the environment and help using the land to the best you can. That keeps the land. That's what conservatives mean. Conservative. Conserve what is here to keep it, maintain what it is, so we don't ruin it. This whole push for green energy is a whole nother thing. They're just going to mine Greenland to no end to sell you the next thing. That's what it is. That's what it's about. Greta.
I was told, but I haven't confirmed this myself. It was a rumor. Put this under the rumors thing. Is that when the sort of left-wing Americans started and the hippies started, they actually were not environmentalists. They thought that the environment meant, golf courses for rich people and that sort of thing, because it's not considered necessary. I mean, if you look at all these leftist countries, do you think they care about the environment? So when they exported their ideology to the United States,
seem like
it was like, no, everyone's just an animal in a cage. Just give them what they need, and anything extraneous like the environment and long walks in parks, that's an area that a factory or a farm could be on to go ahead and feed people, But they changed their tune because they found out that they can just completely. I mean, I'm putting a motive on it, but this is what it's doing. Is it's crippling the United States industry, because if I wanted to start a business here in the United States, it is significantly harder to do that than it is for me to do an equivalent operation overseas if I'm one of the anointed oligarchs in that country.
So again, he's just making assumptions ish. But I think between you and me, chat, I think he's right. Right? I mean, goodness sakes.
You got to judge the fruit. You got to judge the tree by the fruit that grows on it. And that's exactly what's happening. Like when I learned about so I've been overseas, by the way, to these factories working. My day job is working in the semiconductor industry. And the ones I went to are good because I was in Thailand, and that's a pretty good country, and they don't, abuse things that much. Nice. But the guys who are in China, the guys who would go and open factories in China were like, yeah, this is rough. We'd be in the backwaters of China. We'd be in, Suzhou, be in Guangdong and down in the southern area, out in the sticks. And the stuff you get away, even in Mexico, the stuff that you can get away with is totally different. And if we were a serious country who were serious about environmentalism, we'd say that anything that you import has to have the same environmental constraints that we believe in as the United States. That. Yeah, and then
I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah, because that's the fair trade. That's the fair trade. I buy this car. I know it was made the same standards of human rights and environmental rights as it was in the United States. And one of the smarter things we did is we had a quota on Japanese cars, so you couldn't import a certain number of cars. It wasn't just for Japan, but what Japan did was end up just opening factories in the United States. So you have Harley Davidson going to Mexico.
We want that, don't we? Don't we want more of that in here? I mean, we want those factories back. American jobs, American made, or bring it back here. Can we do that? Are we allowed? I mean,
yeah. Anyways.
All right, let's stick on food though.
Yeah.
So I got this article that you sent me. This is the Yahoo News. Food prices rise to highest level in a decade amid labor shortage and supply crisis. And actually, I couldn't find this article, but I was reading it before when we were talking about this. I was reading about how food prices is actually the highest in over 40 years. It's not just a decade.
Is that adjusted for inflation? Is that how they got that?
Maybe. I don't remember exactly, but let's dig into this. So what's this one all about?
Pretty much it's right there on the tin, right? I mean, you've got supply shortages because of the labor shortage. We have things in the dock waiting for 4 weeks, and that includes rubber, steel, copper, microchips, the things that we need to produce food here. So producing food here in the United States isn't going to fix it necessarily unless we change the way we do agriculture and go to homesteading, right? So these shortages are upstream. They're upstream, and now they're finally manifesting. I wouldn't surprise me if these shortages, and I kind of know they started around when COVID started. As soon as COVID started, about 2-3 months into lockdowns, the international lockdowns, it was hard for people to get chips. Yeah. And it was probably hard for people to get steel. And I talked with auto parts brokers and dealers, and they were like, yes, it's starting to get tight. And that was upstream months and months and months ago, probably last May. And now it's starting to finally affect us.
desperation for tires. Now, this farmer is talking about how he's got no more tires, and not only that, like his local John Deere, people were breaking in and stealing like expensive, hard to get parts that are the most essential parts of the harvesters for them to harvest stuff. So, and you got to think too, we are food comes from a store right now. That's the way society is built. Where does your food come from? It comes from a store, right? You're going to the store and buying food. That's where it comes from. Well, that's not the truth. Like you really need to know that it comes from these farmers. All these different farmers all across the different spots that are making different things that are going to other places to mix them and make foods that you eat, that's what you buy at the store. You know, we're in this time where if we're having these shortages and they can't replace their tires, they can't fix the engines of these harvesters, and suddenly there's no more wheat coming in. I don't know if you know how much wheat is used, or dairy, for example. How much dairy is used, or corn. Like if those three things, suddenly we weren't able to use them, most foods right now would be gone from the shelves. Most corn, wheat, and dairy. Can you imagine a store without those three things?
And everything that those go into, go into, and scarcity is going to drive the prices of everything else way high. At this point, like what I suggest people do, and I hate to give advice, but here's the advice, is I bought a year's worth of food, and it wasn't like some, bucket of stuff, right? I just bought 50 pounds of rice from Sam's Club like 6 months ago. Okay. I bought plenty of beans. I bought lots of things that were canned, but mostly just the essentials, right? I have a stockpile of just tea because I don't know what the prices are going to do. Yeah. Because the real cost of any sort of endeavor is what's trending. Where's the price going to go? So if you're projecting a cost up here, but now you got this risk thing, and that risk just widens that bar. You don't know if it's going to go down or up. Really, it's only going to go up. We know that. And it took this long for this supply shortage to affect our food. It's going to take just that long for a supply like if we resume supply to affect our food. That is a scary thought. It's going to be maybe a year or so before these supply shortages. If our government took their boot off the neck of our supply chain right now, it would probably be over a year.
So that's like best case scenario, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to add another wrench into the wheels of society. Workers quit their job at record rates, with 4.3 million people resigning last month as job openings remain high at 10.4. Actually, it's 11 million now.
Oh my gosh.
As of when I was kept reading other things, 11 million. 4.3 million people resigned last month. So not only, this is actually really long. Daily Mail goes into a lot of details into that. Actually, you know what? Let me show you this graph. Let me find this. Hold on. Check this graph out. All right.
There we go.
Job openings and hires.
Oh my gosh.
Look at how it spikes here. There's another one. Oh my gosh, there's so much. All right. Anyway, this shows the job openings are just everyone's hiring. But guess what? No one wants to work. No one wants to do the work. Farming, for those who don't know, I don't know if there's any farmers that are watching my show right now. You guys do hard work. My uncle owned a farm, and you are actually a farmer. Your name is the Farm Engineer. Is it easy? Is it easy work?
No, it's not. It's not. Though you're checking the weather every day. You're dealing with problems that come up. You're trying to save a little money here, and that ends up creating a problem there. It's all about risk assessments. It's honestly, it uses my brain a lot more than my engineering day job does.
Yeah,
honestly.
And you're not doing it for commercial purposes. You're doing it just for you, right?
Just for me and my family.
Right, exactly. So you can imagine if you scale up a farm to being able to produce enough that you can make money, and also there's this whole thing with a lot of farmers out there that get caught up in a bigger corporation that they work for, that they have to meet quotas and all that. That's a whole nother thing. But it is a problem.
Absolutely. The debt that farmers have to go into, I don't know if you guys know how much a tractor is, right? So even the cheapest tractor you can get is probably about $9,000, and that's like a tractor for your home farm. That's what I would probably buy.
Tiny little guy.
Yeah, if you wanted a tractor that was actually commercially viable, I think you're looking at 40 grand, and then up to about 100 grand if you have a large farm.
So like this guy's sitting on this harvester. That thing's probably 150,000. And I'm probably being like on the low end of like a serious commercial grade harvester. It's probably more than that. It's probably way more than that.
Yeah.
So, and that's one piece of the equipment, right? That they need. One.
That's a mortgage. That's basically if you don't get it harvested, it's like you're not even going to be able to pay your mortgage.
Exactly. Right. So it's like they talk about frontline workers, like, yeah, of course we need them. But farmers, truckers, those two pieces are so undervalued in our society. We must recognize that food, yes, simple thing of food, is the most important thing for us to live, because we need to eat. If we don't eat, we die. Guess what happens if you don't eat? You die. That's what happens. Yeah. So thank you, farmers, okay, throughout the last year. And now, I mean, even somehow it's getting worse for them because their supplies are dwindling. They can't even fix their own tractors. This dude's having his workers drive around if they see any metal on the road, because a little piece of metal, they're worried that they'll lose the only set of tires that they have for these harvesters, which they need to give you food and me too, right?
Absolutely.
Shout out to the farmers,
Absolutely. Shout out to the farmers. Everyone is essential. This whole thing about non-essential jobs is a bunch of hooey. All right. Now I can argue that some jobs maybe, but we can't have that argument. That's as Thomas Sowell would say, that's sort of a vision of the anointed type of style of thinking, and you can't do that.
Right.
By the way, you guys want Basic Economics by Thomas Sowell's audiobook form is just on YouTube. Look it up. It's if you listen to that, you probably won't be a Democrat anymore, because the most basic thing here is that we pay people not to work, which is causing a supply shortage. All right, you can't really vaccine mandate a farmer. You can't really vaccine mandate a trucker, or all those jobs that we listed are actually kind of solo jobs. So what do you end up doing? I mean, if I want to be like a bit speculative, you end up just destroying their supply chain instead. It's weird. It's very strange. It's either compliance or you die, and it's bizarre. It's very bizarre.
That's actually a really perfect segue for what we're going to be talking about next is those mandates. Okay. Well, and before we get into it fully though, so yesterday I talked about Southwest Airlines. Have you been paying attention to seeing that? So Southwest Airlines, they're claiming that it's the weather, and that is absolute horse poop. All right. It's absolutely because they're mandating that they get the vaccination to continue working there. And I believe it's November 24th. They have until, so everyone's using their sick time, their vacation days. They're like, fine, if you're going to fire me by that point, by shoving something that is essentially authoritarian and you're mandating it, we're going to go ahead and not work. Peace. And they're striking. So good for them. Good for them. Now, I talked about it a lot yesterday, but I want to talk about that mandate. Okay. I'm going to show you guys and talk about Texas. Governor Greg Abbott bans government mandates on COVID-19 vaccines, regardless of whether they have full FDA approval or not. Yes. Thank you, Abbott. Thank you very much. Freedom. And for those of you who get all pissed off, oh, well, blah, 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 it's against the law. Jen Psaki, I'm looking at you. All right. It's not. And I'm going to show you guys why it's not. It's absolutely authoritarian and against freedom. All right. If you guys get so upset, does it work or does it not work? All right. I'm not a medical professional. I'm just asking a question. Does it work or does it not work? If it works, you're good. If it doesn't work, then we were right. And if it does work, then we're good. It's our right to choose whether or not we want to take the risks at all. As free human beings, we have that right. Again, I'm not a medical professional. I have to add that because of YouTube. But anyway, Greg Abbott, look at this. The order comes 2 days after the FDA granted full approval to the Pfizer vaccine. It doesn't keep private businesses from mandating vaccines for their workers, but public and private entities that receive public funds cannot require vaccination proof from customers. Okay. So it's not necessarily about where you work. It's more about if you're a customer, no one can ask you, which I don't know if I agree. I think it should have been all and not just kind of half-assed like it is here. But, you know, it's against the HIPAA laws that you can't ask me what what I have in my, if I'm, no one's ever asked, hey, are you vaccinated for polio? It's like, well, the polio vaccine, by the way, took 50 years to perfect. I don't know if you knew that. And there was many, many years of terrible adverse effects that haunted human beings. All right, just letting you guys know.
Thanks, Gerald Ford.
Okay. I want to play this for you. This is Benny from Benny Johnson. He says, Saki, talking about Greg Abbott, and this is her response. All right. And I'm just going to play this for you guys. I don't want to just add, I cannot stand this woman. I cannot stand this woman. Listen. Can you hear that? Can you hear that? I just want to make sure you can hear it.
I cannot hear it.
Okay, let me just restart this real quick.
Oh, sure.
Because I need you guys to hear this. You have to. Yeah, I have to add it in a specific way so I can sharing audio. Share audio. Okay.
That kind of the OSHA efforts essentially get tied up in litigation rather than having the immediate effect?
Well, Josh, these requirements are promulgated by federal law. So when the
first lie, hold on.
Yeah,
I gotta just stop her right there. That's all you needed to hear. She starts by responding, it's mandated by law. Okay, Jen Psaki, I can't stand the sound of your voice, and I am not going to subject my audience to your voice any longer than that. That's all you needed to hear. She starts by saying it's law. Well, guess what?
Yeah.
Guess what? It's not law.
Preach.
Jen Psaki. It's not. In fact, it isn't even an executive order, which she actually claims it to be as well later on in that spewing of trash as she does so eloquently all the time. Check this out. This is from The Federalist. Joe Biden's vaccine mandate doesn't exist. It's just a press release. That's it. It's a press release. We've heard all about Joe Biden's alleged vaccine mandates for private companies employing 100 people or more. It was all over the news even before he announced it on September 9th. His announcement has jeopardized the employment of millions of Americans and increased worker shortages in critical domains such as healthcare. There's only one problem. It's all a mirage. His so-called vaccine mandate doesn't exist, at least not yet. So far, all we have is his press conference and other such made-for-media huff-puffing. No such rule, even claiming to be legally binding, has been issued yet. That's why nearly 24 Republican attorney generals who have publicly voiced their opposition to the clearly unconstitutional and illegal mandate haven't yet filed suit against it. The office of the Indiana Attorney General confirmed for me there is no mandate to bring to court.
Yeah.
That may be part of the plan.
All right. So I've seen this before too, in person. This is mob tactics. This is gangster tactics. When I walk into someone's store and I say,
yes,
it'd be a shame if something happened to this store. You're going to have to require a max. It'd be a bad thing if something happened to you if you didn't have this vaccine mandate. You can't sue me. I didn't say anything. I didn't say You can't take me to court. This is what the mob does. They'll imply a problem. But the thing is, you have our government pretty much has our industry by the cojones, and they know it. So anything could happen. They could have a completely unrelated executive order about, I don't know, OSHA or something else like that. Invite EPA. All of a sudden, you need governors on all your trucks. You can only go 30 miles an hour. All sorts of chicanery. This is mob tactics, pure mob tactics.
Those are some nice knees you got there. It would be a shame if something happened to him.
You could have a really bad fall, you know.
Okay, and you know what? I'm going to present this to you with no comment. All right? I present to you the fearless leaders that are pushing this stuff.
Mandatory, but I would do everything in my power, just like I don't think
I got to start it over.
mandatory, but I would do everything in my power, just like I don't think masks have to be made mandatory nationwide.
Oh,
Can we mandate vaccines across the country? No, that's not a role
Oh.
that the federal government, I think, even has the power to make.
oh,
Cannot require someone to be vaccinated.
oh,
That's just not what we can do.
oh.
It is a matter of privacy to know who is or who isn't.
Oh my gosh.
Definitely not. You don't want to mandate and try and force anyone to take a vaccine. We've never done that. We don't want to be mandated by the federal government to the general population.
Oh, man.
Unenforceable.
I think it should be mandatory. I wouldn't demand it be mandatory.
Huh. Well, would you look at that? All these leaders trying to force it when they were claiming for a long time they can't do it. And guess what? Free American, all of you out there, they can't. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all just BS. They're mob tactics. Great line. You're right. That's what it is.
I would suggest looking beyond it being hypocrisy at this point, right? I'm like,
Right.
they're hypocrites. Everybody knows that, right? It's getting kind of old to say it. What
Played out.
Here's something that just popped into my head. What I think they're doing is what Donald Trump would do externally to the United States. Everyone kind of think he's crazy. I don't want to mess around with Donald Trump because I might find out, right?
Right.
I feel like, are they doing that to us here? Are they just changing their minds? And that's actually part of the mind game. Is it like, what are they going to do tomorrow? What's it going to be like? Because once you capitulate once to someone who is going to oscillate and vacillate and change every rule every day, once you do it once, you're terrified to do it. Like, okay, I'm in his good graces. Then he makes an example out of a couple of people who don't go with the first one, which they've been doing.
Yep, exactly.
And it's obedience by being, the inconsistency is part of the tactic. I think here, I've dealt with people who are manipulative, who are really abusive.
Yep.
I think everyone has, and
But that's basically all Democrats.
I feel like the Democrats are like, there's the owners, and then there's the scared masses, right? And then there's the cult members, and it's weird to like create the topology of this madness.
Yeah.
And I try to reach out to the cult members, and they're tough, man, because they can be just as vicious. I mean,
True.
I was just one of the masses before I got red pilled. This stuff does help. The stuff that you do does help. Everyone is going to find their Adam Crigler at some point, and one thing is going to break them. When they show up at the store and they don't see stuff there, and they keep seeing, like Saki saying, everything's fine, nothing's bad, or they can't.
It's all Trump's fault.
Yeah. 3 years into the administration, it's like still Trump's fault. And if you can't fly out of Florida, and they're saying, the weather's bad, we can't fly out, and you're like, the weather's fine. Like, that is some 2 + 2 = 5 madness.
It's true. I called my friend. I was like, hey, how's the weather? He lives in Florida. He lives in Central Florida, not like down in Miami. He lives like north of Orlando, I guess, more higher up in the state. And he's like, it's beautiful here. It's the sun is shining. And so you know what? I want to show you guys. This is trending on Twitter. Freedom #FreedomFlu. And that's because, look, Texas banned vaccine mandates. Southwest is headquartered in Dallas. Who blinks first? Heyo. You see that? You see where we're at too? We're at a very pivotal moment. We're at a pivotal moment of standing up. Okay. We have the power, all of us. Now, I'm sure that I'm sure it's against some sort of guidelines, because I'm not telling you guys to do anything, right? I'm not advocating for anything. Already, Washington Post wrote this article about me saying I'm some extremist show that are inciting extremism in my following. I don't know if you've ever watched my show or not, or know me in the slightest. I am 100% against violence. I don't want violence. I also don't want authoritarians controlling the world, right? I want self-accountability. I want to work for myself. I want to, be accountable for my actions. And there are so many.
That sounds like extremist talk, Adam.
Sure,
like being accountable to yourself.
If that's extreme, then sure. That's the extreme side of me, that I want to be accountable for my own actions. And I would hold others to that as well, which is just bonkers that we have to even say that we're not, that's not just a normal thing that is innate in most people. Like, you do something, you should be held accountable for it. No, these people just blame it on others. Okay. I have
Yep.
ranted a lot today. That was great. If you guys have not smashed that like button, I have no idea what you were waiting for. You better smash that like button. If you haven't checked out my new studio, I'm going to take you away just to show off my studio. I got a new studio that I built. I really like it a lot. What do you guys think? I see a lot of people commenting on it. Thank you so much. I actually got a new camera as well. It's very crisp. I can see that it's nice and crisp. I really like it. We're going to get into some super chats. Just remember, you can follow the Farm Engineer on Twitter. This guy has his own farm, and you're constantly posting upgrades and updates and stuff that you do around the farm. It's pretty cool.
It's a channel for the common person. If you want to get into homesteading, I try to make it as clear as possible. Nothing special, nothing. I'm all about getting stuff done. So come on over and check it out.
Nice. All right. I saw a couple super chats disappear before I started. Of course, you guys were super chatting before we even started, which is just awesome. And you guys are absolutely fantastic. All right, let me get back to the beginning here. Here we go. Robert Shaw. Wow. Robert Shaw was the first super chatter. What a rare occurrence. He says, F Bezos, okay. Robert Wiles says, I hope this makes Betty and Diana smile. I'm doing better. So is my pug. Thanks for all the love and kindness. Be blessed. Thank you very much, Robert. Robert Shaw says, remember, this is only the start of the shortage. The train hasn't finished derailing yet. All of the products that are not moving will spoil. Strap in. That is a good point.
I'm gonna doom pill you guys a little bit.
Great.
Sorry. I pray to God that this shortage does not start applying to prescription drugs, and I don't see a reason why it wouldn't. And that's very scary to me. Actually,
well, they all come from China, or 80% of them come from China. So
luckily you can air freight those, so maybe you can bypass. So they might get more expensive, but we'll see. We really got to start making stuff here.
Thank you. I agree. I want to reiterate that. He's absolutely right. China makes over 80% of our medicines. They make over 80% of lithium batteries. They make most of our stuff. We are helpless without them. Yes, I said helpless. That's right. I'm calling out America. Like, we need. I was in Sweden. I visited Nishra's family over the summer. And, going around and shopping, picking up a product, I look at where it's made now. I still have coffee in here, but if you look under my mug, it says "Made in America." Yeah, I did that I did that on purpose because I want American made. Well, everything in Sweden, guess where it's made? Take a guess. You want to guess?
Oh man, I don't know. I'm gonna guess Germany, India. I don't know.
Sweden.
Say what?
Sweden.
Sweet. Oh, dang. Outstanding. All right. That's not a big country either.
They make their own stuff. But it's like, they're a tiny country, but they're still making their own stuff. And I was like, this is awesome. Like, all these products I'm seeing. And it's funny, there's an IKEA in Sweden. There's a few of them. And you go into IKEA and you look around and that stuff is made in China. And it's like, oh, come on. But everywhere else, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. All right. Let's see. I got some more super chat. Lots of super chats today. Thanks everybody for super chatting. Robert Shaw continues on. He says, part 1. This is the Trippa Snippa ingredients. I don't know if should I even be saying this? It's a bunch of different drugs. I don't know what this is for. Speed, weed, cocaine, mushrooms, heroin, pipe cleaner. What is this?
Pipe cleaner. You forgot the toilet duck.
Battery acid. What is this? This is insane. I do not want anyone to even think about trying this. Herbs and spices and some lettuce and tomatoes, vodka, Ajax spray and wipe, some chicken and cheese all wrapped in a tortilla. That sounds like death, Robert Shaw. I hope that's not something that you've ever done.
I'm glad to hear your family's doing better though, Robert Shaw.
Right. Wow. Well, no, Robert Wiles' family's doing better. I don't know about this guy.
Oh.
But he continues. He said, I'm starting to think Joe Biden is a bad president. Starting to? Are you serious? Wow. I knew he was going to be bad as soon as we got into it. Chet Chisholm with a $10 super chat. Actually, 2 $10 super chats. Let's see. Number 1. All right. I just need to, this is some medical stuff. I'm just going to say, I'm not a medical professional. I actually know he is a paramedic, but that doesn't matter. I am not advocating for anything. I'm just reading a super chat. Meds, this is the super chat here. It says, meds have the potential to cause harm. This med has no exception to that. There are plenty of reasons that concern your health to not take it. Stating that got me a lifetime ban on Reddit. I know personally numerous people who have been injured by this, myself included. If you bring it up to people and explain how that occurs, they will tell you to shut up, even though you are living proof of adverse effects. Chet, yeah, I know that you went through that, and it's such a shame that I have to even do a disclaimer before I read your own, because Chet, I've known you for a year and a half now. You've shown me all sorts of articles throughout the pandemic. Chet being a paramedic up in Canada. And the things that he had to go through to, keep his job, and this, I have no reason to not trust what he has said. So interesting. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Robert Shaw continues, says, remember, kids, even in death, your vote still counts. Only for Democrats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might get blue pilled after you've died, though.
I'm gonna write that on my tombstone. If my vote will be continued to be used, it must be anything but Democrats. I don't even care if it's used for whatever, but it can't be used for Democrats. Robert Wild says fast food places are starting to limit how much food to go.
Yep.
By my sister was only able to buy 3 items at Taco Bell. Really interesting.
Madness.
It's gonna get worse. It's gonna get much worse, and it's frightening. Robert Shaw says, F it, we'll do it live. F it, we'll do it live. Now this is talking about the mic issues that I couldn't hear you earlier for some reason. Everyone can. That's what I didn't understand. Somehow everyone was able to hear you except me, but I don't know. Whatever. We figured it out. It worked out.
Yeah, I think it must have been on my end because me rejoining is what fixed it, right?
Yeah. So
browsers. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, that's and it worked. Andrew says Biden and Trudeau might be real members of the CCP. That would be some crazy breakthrough bombshell news if we had some sort of proof of that.
I mean, which Biden, right? I mean, Hunter, doesn't he have a bunch of stakes in Chinese companies? I almost feel like it would be a requirement to have some kind of...
True, but again, the big guy, I'm assuming you're talking about the president, Biden. But yeah, I mean, the laptops, which have been proven real, by the way, for all those Russian disinformation, they're real, by the way. Let's see. Where were we? Fails R Us says this Loudoun story terrifies me. As a McAuliffe said, parents can't tell schools what to do. I don't like Youngkin, but I hope to God he wins next month. Yo, I can't stand that man. McAuliffe, he straight up said, like, parents shouldn't be able to be allowed to tell, to have any input in what schools teach their kids.
To roaring applause, too, at that debate. That was disgusting.
It's like, excuse me? They're not the government's kids. Period. End of discussion. None. That's it. Done. That guy should not have any sort of elected office. Period. I can't believe it. Robert Shaw says, how many victims are there under this administration? It's a good question. I mean, we were specifically talking about Loudoun County, and you think about that, right? They are saying it's a red herring that there's nothing ever happens. There's never any sexual assaults that happen in women's restrooms because of transgender issues or people that may want to abuse that system to actually go and victimize people, which is what happened with this man's daughter. Okay. And then they even said, well, it's any minors, we're not allowed to release that information because they're about minors. So, of course, there's no record of any of it happening because you're not even allowed to talk about it. You're not allowed to show it. And then, of course, we got America's largest union, the teachers union, by the way, probably in cahoots with squashing any of that stuff.
They're the biggest contributor, I think, to the Democratic Party in terms of donations. And second off,
not surprising.
The idea that you can't keep they do. People keep statistics on crimes against minors and crimes from minors. It's just anonymous. So this whole thing of like, oh, we don't want to record any of this stuff. That's a complete cope. That's insane. That's insane
Right.
that you wouldn't just anonymize it. Like make it we already have a system for that. So that's a
Perfect.
full-on lie.
Exactly. Just lie. Let's see here. Robert Shaw says most sexual assaults is opportunists. What creates more opportunities than critical race theory, open borders, mass poverty, mass homelessness? Tell me I'm wrong, please. Please. I can't. I mean, specifically, the story is more revolving around the transgender issue where, you know, anyone of any whatever they claim to be should be allowed in any bathroom. It's like, hey, look, I am not, I've said this multiple times on my show. I am not against anyone who's transgender. I'm not. I don't care. If you're an adult, you do you, right? But as soon as you start messing with kids, I have issues.
Yeah.
As soon as you start taking women's spaces away, I have issues. Women's sports, I have issues. Like there's certain things that I'm just not crossing the line on. And guess what? There's transgender people that agree with me. Okay. They agree. And I read a study a couple weeks back where they've actually proven, well, in fact, biological males who now identify as women do in fact have an advantage no matter how much hormone therapy they've gone through.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's another subject at hand, but goodness sakes. Chapter Master Dante says government schools, the less safe place for your kids. Yeah,
They are.
Jason Dixon's sent you a message on locals about gigawatttokens.com. Right on. I'll check it out. Sleazy says those parents complaining just buy a farm. Actually, it's dim fool. They just want bread. Actually, AOC. Oh, I see what. Okay. Yeah, that don't even get me started on him. I'm just so over it. I have nothing to do with him anymore. So I'm not your buddy guy says this is what happened in Rotherham, Britain with those Muslim children rape gangs. If anything, this shows protected classes of people can get away with evil. I mean, just as you said it earlier. What did you say? You said tyranny.
Anarcho-tyranny. Anarchy for
Anarcho-tyranny.
one side, tyranny for the other.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yep, exactly. So if you're LGBTQ, I think there's like seven other things. I don't know what it is, whatever. If you fall into that category, you can literally get away with anything. In fact, I have a tweet.
This is from Justin Trudeau.
No. Hold on.
Okay,
That is, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Where he's like LGBT, but and he gets so defeated. He's like, I just got. What am I supposed to say? Someone wrote this perfectly. They wrote. So I was talking about the Loudoun County situation on Twitter, right? Because this whole story blew up today. And someone responded and said, I have been reliably informed that trying to hold anyone who falls under the LGBTQ, etc. banner accountable for their criminal or immoral behavior is called punching down.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that it is worse than 9/11 and the Holocaust combined. And that's what they believe. They really believe that it's the worst, most horrendous thing that you can do, punch down at someone by wanting them to be accountable for their actions.
I was like,
I'm sorry, no. And I just responded. I said, I'm putting my gloves on.
yeah, I saw that.
You know?
That was awesome. Oh, why are LGBT whatever plus? Why are they down?
Why?
You said
Right.
they're down. I think they're.
They
great.
did. That's the thing. They put themselves down. Look. I don't want to know. I don't care what your orientation is. I don't care. Don't tell me. I don't care. Why does that have anything to do with the character you are? Are you going to be nice? Are you going to do something for to better society? Are you going to work on yourself, or are you just going to say you're a victim and that you're the one of the letters in that list? Like, why is that on the forefront of who you are as a person? Is that it? Are you going to at least try to do something more than be part of your sexual identity? Like, I don't care. I don't talk about my sexual identity because it's not important, and it shouldn't be important. They're the ones that are pushing it to the front of every single conversation because they're claiming they're marginalized for it. If no one knew what you preferred, then no one would know. And then what would you claim then? Huh? Maybe just stop talking about it. How would people even know, right? I mean, it's just, it drives me nuts.
I know. It's madness. It's the creating that group identity based on like the sexual identity. That's bizarre. I don't come in here and be like, I'm straight Alex, or I'm straight farm engineer. I'm just
right.
the farm engineer, right?
And even if you weren't straight or whatever, you could be the Q or the A. I don't know what any of these things stand for, but you could, and you probably still wouldn't do that. You wouldn't come in and be like, I'm the bi-engineer, or some weird thing. It's like, okay, what does that have to do with farming or being an engineer? Like anyone can be a farmer. Well, you need to be able to work, and I'm not saying anyone could
Upper
be a
body
farmer.
strength helps, yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So it's so ridiculous. Jim Macabre, celebrating 5 months as a member. Thank you very much. Pardon me. Says, I believe the answer is pressuring our state legislators to call up their militias to defend state borders, kick out the feds. We need to take those state legislators. You need to become the state legislator. We have to go past that because that's still not enough. We're at this point where it's like we'll take your call and go, all right.
Yeah.
They think that we're gonna bring up the state militia. You hear this? These guys, but I took their call, so they feel like they did something, right? It's not enough anymore. It's not enough.
Yeah.
Mark G says,
right.
Yep. Mark G says there was once a man whose name Kind was kind of spelt like Pinocchio. He had the right solution on how to solve this problem. Just need to learn to fly. I don't like violence at all, Mark G. And I know what you're trying to say. I don't do the helicopter ride thing. I think that is a terrible solution, and I don't want to even entertain anything along those lines.
We're in a 4-generational warfare right now, is what I've heard, right? We're in a persuasion war. And if you do anything and people think, oh, we should, the other side is doing it, we should do it. That's a trap. If you start your own NFAC, you're going to look like a bunch. You're going to end up on a list. You're going to end up on every CNN for months. How long do they stretch out a false story? If you give
That's
them
what they
the
want.
Story,
they want that. They want it. Oh, see,
don't give what they want.
I mean, even though the left has been burning down the country and throwing bricks and causing the most divided this country has ever been in my lifetime, anyway. I mean, I can say that honestly. Maybe not in our history as a country. Mark G says the preferred term is ship watchers, not boats. Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Lightning's World celebrating 11 months as a member. Wow, almost a year. That's amazing. Says, Adam, you have been doing an amazing job. The sky is the limit for you.
Oh, yeah.
Keep up the great work and shout out to the awesome chat. Thank you, Mr. Lightning's World. I appreciate your 11 months of membership and that support. It really means a lot to me. And then, of course, I hope the sky is not the limit for me because I want to go to space one day. I don't know if you know that about me, but
you didn't get on the William Shatner ride. I mean, they're sending him up into space. Goodness gracious me.
Yeah, I know. It's good. Did you see the uniforms? Did you see?
Yes, I did. What a stud. That guy's amazing.
I gotta show everyone. I gotta show everybody the uniform. I just thought it was hilarious because, I mean, do you watch Star Trek?
Me?
Yeah. Did you watch Star Trek?
You kidding me? Yeah.
Okay. I just, for those who don't know you and for those who hadn't seen
Star Trek
you on the show before.
Star Trek is outstanding. That is my moral foundation.
This is the outfit. They gave him the original captain's colors, and then they're all wearing red shirts. But then you see, I said, this is pretty cool.
Elon said people were going to die on the way to Mars. Like, no reason to push it, Elon. Okay.
Yeah, right.
If only William comes back.
It's like, ooh, the red shirts all die. So, all right. So hopefully that doesn't happen.
Nah, it'll be fine. That's too funny.
All right, I got to say thank you, everyone, for all those like button smashes. There's such an amazing smash to like ratio right now. Thank you so much. You guys are fantastic. If you have not subscribed, please do subscribe. It really helps me. Sharing my videos definitely helps. A lot of you share my videos. I see a lot of them being shared. Thank you so much for every single one of you who shared my videos. I really do appreciate that. And remember, you can follow the Farmgineer right there over on Twitter and check him out. He's got some great stuff. Fails R Us says, any tips on buying meat from local farms?
Yeah.
I think you got some
Oh,
tips
yeah.
there.
I just bought a 14 cubic foot freezer. Nice, good chest freezer. It's going to fit an entire cow. I'm not even messing around because half of a cow costs as much as like 80%. Like it's 80% the cost of the whole cow, right? So
Right.
I just went for the whole cow and go on to Craigslist. I'm not even joking. Go on to Craigslist. I'm going to just go pay cash.
Really?
Yeah. I'm just going to. I found my. If you're in the Tennessee area, we got a guy, Mayfield. I can't remember his URL, but there's a lot of local farmers who will then take it to a slaughterhouse for you. And I just got an email from my rancher who just asked me, "Hey, fill out this form for what cuts you want." I'm like, "This is the best. I want a T-bone. I want fillets. I want this." And it's going to be enough meat to last me over a year. It's 400. I can't eat that much meat. 400 pounds of meat, probably. Yeah.
Now, I actually also heard this. If you can't, it's not cheap to buy a full cow. But
It's
even
not,
if it might not be that expensive, but it's probably cheaper than going to the store and buying a cow's worth. But I did see that. Call your neighbors, call your community, and hey, there's meat shortages here. If we pool our resources, we could buy a cow and pay for bring it to a local butcher shop, support local, and help it out. Of course, it's funny hearing that from a vegan, but whatever. I'm a realist. I think you guys know that about me. But community is key. I think if we're gonna hit a food shortage of what could potentially be very difficult times moving forward, having a community is one of the most important things that you can do. Having someone that might grow tomatoes and cucumbers and carrots, and then you can grow potatoes and whatever. Introduce different varieties between your trade communities that you can help, and maybe store meat together and go in on the bigger buying a full cow and sharing it as you move forward and helping each other. So
100% preach, man. That's 100% right.
Mark Robershaw says, we also dump our garbage in the third world. Yes, we do. It's true. Well, you're in Australia, but I guess you might do the same thing. I'm not sure. Dallas Caballero says, how do you feel about nuclear energy? I think it's the future.
I think it's great. I was so mad when Bill Clinton canceled development on thorium reactors back when I was a child, a wee lad in like 1997. I was so mad because it uses waste fuel, right? So
it's crazy. They can't. It just pumps out energy. It's like the once the infrastructure is set in getting people energy, it's there's not a lot of money to be made after the initial install, right? It's just like it's all about the money. They need to make money off of you. That's really what it is. They don't want perpetual. I mean, there's a magnetic generators. Those exist. You know that? Like you turn them on and it's a perpetual motion energy system that is built with magnets. They're super expensive, but it works. Why can't we figure that out? I see that's the future. They don't want that. I mean, Tesla designed free energy 100 years ago.
Well,
hold on. Sorry. JP Morgan asked him, how do we charge people for this? And Tesla giggled. He said, you can't. It's in the air. It's like my phone would just charge from electrical particles in the air. How do you charge people for that? You can't. All right, scrap this project.
Yep. I love crowdfunding for that reason. Crowdfunding is the way to go now these days.
True. Sue says they took the girl to the hospital and the conclusions, this kid charges were to be lowered, but he dragged a girl into an empty class. It's serial. Yeah, so this is talking about the Loudoun case with the guy, the boy that the man, whatever. Well, he's a teenager, but
the monster.
The monster who raped the guy's daughter, went to a new school and did it again. It's serial. You're right. Chris Holmes says, My theory for these ships is that it's being done on purpose. Take away the people's resources and force them to rely on government for their needs. You know, I thought about that and I forgot to bring it up, but that could very well be true, right? I mean,
Yeah.
who knows? The government wants us to be sucking on their tit forever. They want us. I'm serious. They want us attached to the government. I need us.
They sold themselves coming into this administration as that we're the smartest people in the room. The adults are back in the room. I'm not going to apply. I think it's Hanlon's razor. Don't ascribe to malice what you can ascribe to stupidity, right?
Yep.
Like, no, you guys got rid of that. When you say that you're smart and you got this under control, you don't get to use that anymore.
Right.
It's
yeah,
not
exactly.
stupid. This has got to be on. I would have to say it's on. I just falter towards on purpose now. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe any of them. Tara Goodinson, celebrating 2 months as a member. Thank you so much. She says, love the show, the people, the music, and the coffee. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. With a little rock on emote, I appreciate you. Emily with a $10 super chat said 15 states have already passed a resolution calling for an Article 5 convention of states. 9 additional states have passed it in one chamber, and 18 more have active legislation. We need 34. Okay, now that deserves its own segment.
That's interesting.
I have been watching that. That would really, because it's never been done before, I don't think. Right? I don't think it's ever been done.
Yeah.
And that I think I'm going to go into that another time. That deserves its own segment.
That's a great. Let me know when that show is, man. That's awesome.
That's going to be interesting. Well, maybe the next time you come on, let's
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Talk about it. Surf Illustrated said the left's environmentalists' only goal is to stifle capitalism. Always has been.
100%.
This is what pisses me off too, because these leftists, every single time I've ever listened to any of them try to logically explain what they hate against capitalism, it's always corporatism that they're explaining.
Yeah.
They're always talking about corporatism. None of it is capitalism. They don't understand that capitalism is actually really good for forward progress and for humans as a whole. But corporatism is when it runs rampant and gets to the point of corruption. All right. That's what we have now. Right. Capitalism's good. All right. I think a good balance between capitalism and social programs is a good balance. Like, look at Sweden. People are like, Bernie Sanders loves to say, like, look at Sweden, like they've got healthcare for everyone. Well, they also have private healthcare that you can pay so you don't have to wait in line, which sometimes takes a long time because it's free. So you only have a specific, baseline coverage, and you still have to wait. If you need private insurance, you can get it. They also have school choice, so you can choose where your tax money goes. Right. And guess what? They're also a capitalistic nation. They sell stuff. They produce stuff. That's why they remained neutral in World War II. They kept making weapons. They were selling weapons to everybody.
That'll do it.
Anyway, don't give me. Yeah, go ahead. What?
I propose a small reframe, guys. Anytime you hear the word capitalism in your mind, replace it with free market, and that the free market actually excludes the corporatist part.
There it is.
Google does not contribute to a free market. They will smash anyone in their way. That when you start seeing companies doing this sort of predatory stuff, it's diminishing the free market. And I think the word capitalism was actually didn't Marx make that up? I think he might have created the term. We should look into that because I don't want to use Marx's words.
Okay.
I don't want to use that guy's toilet after he used it.
Hold on. No, I did a deep dive on Marx.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's so right. later on in his life, he actually talked about how he realized that capitalism actually is good. And that he even asked the people that were following him, hey, look, put the Communist Manifesto back on the shelf. I was young when I wrote that, and I didn't fully understand. But that's who the Marxists, that's who they look up to. Young Marx, when he was pissed off because he got fired from the newspaper that he was working at because they didn't like the stuff that he was printing, which was against the elites that were in control, but that was under a monarch system, which we don't have here. Yeah. Right? We don't have monarchy in America. That's not the way it is.
We literally have the means we have the ability to own the means of our own production. That's what we have here. That's what free market is.
3D printing and farming. It's like we could do a lot of stuff on our own, but guess what? Most people don't want to. Oh, don't get me started on all those lazy people out there. All right, where are we at here? Where did that super chat come from? Oh, that was from How Do You Feel About Nuclear Energy? That's we've been going on for a little while here. It's good. Sue. Oh no, wait. I did read that one. Hold on. Where was I? It's from Self Illustrated. The left's environmentalists' only goal is to stifle capitalism. Right. And that's actually still holds true though. They use it they want to get rid of it because they are lazy and want communism. They don't want to have to work. They want other people to work. Little do they know that they will be breaking rocks as well. Robert Shaw says, what happened with recycling tires? That is a thing. In fact, tires in Africa now are worth a lot because there's this company that's now taking those and turning them into bricks and using them as material, which good. I mean, we got to use them for something, right? So it's kind of cool. Robert Shaw says the CEO of Southwest has come out and blamed Biden. Really? I did not see that. Did you see that?
I did see that. He basically said it wasn't
What did
me,
he say?
it was the mandate. I kind of it came off as a bit cowardly to me because he's just passing the buck. But at least the buck is now where it's probably should be.
Hey, CEO of Southwest, what mandate? We just talked about it. It's not a mandate. It's him saying I declare bankruptcy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? It's like just Joe Biden saying I just did this mandate doesn't make it law. Doesn't mean that it's legal. Jen Psaki talking to you. Anyway.
This is a satire. We're in Michael Scott world right now. Did you see that thing with Kamala with the telescope? I was like, what?
I haven't seen that yet.
I can only get a quarter of the way into it, and then I'm cringe out.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it because I love space, and I hear that NASA basically hired some actors, some kids, because they couldn't get anyone to do it legitimately. But yeah, I'm gonna get into it. Sticky Icky Ricky says, "Did Tim stop trying to sneak into your naked after you were off the show?" I'm gross. Robert Shaw says, Jen Psaki is actually a synth, not a real human. I would believe that, actually. Chris Holmes, fun fact, there is actually no real mandate written into law. They will threaten and scare, but legally down the road can't. Do not quit. I know, yep, exactly. So probably before I actually talked about that. Zylox Dragon with a $50 super chat. Wow, $50. Thank you so much. He says, I'm such an extremist. I feel like giving a coffee giveaway, but you have no dice. Wrong. I do, in fact, have my dice. I did say yesterday, guys, that I was going to get the dice. So you can have a chance to win. If you want to guess the number, I'm going to roll the die. You guys know the deal.
2.
Okay. He has guessed, and it is unfortunately not 2. But you guys know the deal. Good luck. Have fun. Kisama 001. Congratulations. You won. It is, in fact, 5. Let me just snap a photo so I get this. Congratulations. You now can go get yourself a bag of Crigler coffee. Go to criglercoffee.com and pick out whatever blend you want and email me at thecriglershow@gmail.com and let us know what kind of blend you want. Thank you, Zylox Dragon, for that giveaway. That is so cool. You extremist, you. All right. Vash says, just to be clear, the proposed executive order to make OSHA enforce mandates on large companies does not exist. There is one for federal contractors, though. Right. Okay. So is Southwest a federal contractor? No, it's not. They have been bailed out, though, which, one could probably argue that they are getting federal money. I don't know. Well, that's another subject, though. J-Mac says, just a reminder, the Nazis were socialists, too. This is true. This is true. Yeah. And they also turned an entire populace against a specific group of people. Whatever. Other greater people have been canceled for even suggesting what I just did. Mr. Paul R says, Adam, the reason that Southwest claims weather, they don't have to pay for hotels for stranded flyers. Oh,
what? Oh, that's insightful.
brutal. And that actually, yeah, it is. Like, I didn't even think about that, but you're right.
They got
Hey,
all
sorry. It's the weather, guys.
Class action. Class action. That's the only way to set that straight.
Oh, they're going to get hit, man. Robert Shaw says, air freight with what pilots? What ground crew? Good point. You said about medications, air freighting them over.
Oh,
But
yeah, that's true. Hey,
if the pilots are all getting mandated and are like, I'm not flying to China, you know?
who wants to charter a flight so my dad can get his insulin? Oh my god.
And you know where a lot of the medicine comes from, people? Wuhan. I'm not joking. It's crazy. Anyway, moving on. Voorhees, thank you for that super chat. You didn't say anything. Random Eskimo, Adam, please read the New York Times article. Opinion: we are Republicans, but be prepared to have your soul swear and scream. Oh goodness.
Oh, this is hard, Rhino.
New York Times. I'm sorry, New York Times writing an article saying we are Republicans. I mean, right off the bat, I sense tomfoolery here. American B. Savage says, "Let's go, Brandon."
Yeah.
Darren Chewy says, "Here's with a $10 super chat says, here's something concerning. As old generation doctors retire and the next gen being woke millennials / Zoomers, medical advice and political opinion might be one in the same." Might? Yeah, I 100% with you, especially when we have the doctors and nurses and all these frontline workers that are quitting or getting fired, removed. So who's going to be left? The people that were indoctrinated, right? It's crazy.
I really don't want to arrange my surgery by going onto Craigslist and finding the fired surgeon who was actually not shoot me full of axe or something like that.
Listen to this story. Okay. I think it's Colorado, if I recall. Colorado. So an unvaxxed organ recipient was taken off the list because they were unvaxxed. That sucks, right? Terrible. Yeah. Horrendous. It gets worse. Ready? The organ that they were supposed to get was also from an unvaxxed person that they were denied even being able to give the organ. So we have two people, both unvaccinated. One was giving their organ to the match that was also unvaccinated. Both got denied because they were both unvaccinated. When in reality, it's like they're both purebloods as far as
purebloods for life, man. This is against the Hippocratic Oath 100%. If I was going to weigh the risks of not getting
yes, it is
versus getting COVID, like you got to make decisions. But this is ideological, and ideologies don't understand risk, and they don't have any wiggle room.
Absolutely craziness. Jago Dragon says, "I just added you on Twitter. I think this restaurant is on the same onto something. Let people know how much the pandemic economy is costing them." Finding my ats on Twitter is kind of tough, but I will give it a look-see if I can find it. Some hijink says the southern border is wide open. The cartels are getting rich. Do you think they're also setting aside 10% for the big guy? Oh man, I don't know. Maybe. Quesadilla says, "I super chat you. I super chatted. You are here, and they didn't read it. No smash. Oh, that sucks."
Aw.
You know what? They have a hard stop though. They do an hour and a half max. I think. I don't know. My show's a little more. I don't know, informal. I don't want to say it's informal, but I read every super chat, and I will continue to read every super chat.
You got a great community.
I don't want to compare. I don't like comparing myself to other shows because I'm not other shows. I don't want to be other shows. I actually purposefully don't watch other people's opinion videos. A lot of people send me like the quartering stuff. Now I like the quartering stuff. I'll watch his stuff for more pop culture stuff that I don't really report on myself, but I don't want to be influenced by what they're saying. I read the news, how it's presented to most people, and then I draw my own conclusions from that. So I tend to avoid other people's commentary on things.
That's good.
But I don't remember. Yeah. So you are here. I mean, they do their own thing. They have their own style. Everyone does. So, but I did have a great time on their show last week. David again says, here in California, 24,000 nurses are striking because of the mandate. Wow. And you don't see that on the media. I mean, are you surprised? Well, we're not going to see that, right? Of course not. They don't want people to know, especially in California. They don't want, 24,000, that's a lot. What do they know? What do they know? This is why would they not want this? They're the ones who were working all last year, that they were praised and put on pedestals for fighting through the pandemic, and now they're being treated like secondary citizens because of maybe they know something. Maybe they're actually medical professionals that know how to read reports and understand what is actually going on. And maybe we should know about that and pay attention to these people. Just saying, I'm not a medical, I'm not giving medical advice. Just telling you what I'm noticing. Let's see. Damie says, let's go, Brandon. Praying for health and wealth for you guys. Oh, and of course, freedom. Thank you, Damie. I appreciate that. Random Eskimo again says the previous super chat I sent was two Republicans telling people to vote Democrat in 2022 to stop Trump. Establishment Republicans need to be primaried. Okay. So it wasn't two. I see. All right. So that sounds like something I could read on my show and totally rip apart, which I will probably enjoy doing that. Because it's probably chock full of lies. Quesadilla says, I posted a reel on my Instagram showing all the ships from the port of LA all the way down to Huntington Beach. Wow. Captain Dave Q at Instagram. Interesting. All right. Yeah, it's crazy how many ships. And it's East Coast too. It's not just West Coast. Robert Shaw says, how do you like your cows? Modified, cloned, or natural? Alive. Mr. Paul R says Tim Pool now has a replacement UFO that plays music. Spin the UFO. I heard someone was telling me he's got a UFO now. Does he actually say spin the UFO and spin it? Because that's kind of funny, right? It's only going to make people think about me, I think. All the OGs remember that was my 100%. Thing. I spun the UFO. That was my UFO. In fact, I got it too because I found it in a freaking trash pile, and I'm like, this is mine.
Nice.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm thinking back. Nisha actually went down and took it. Now I remember this. She went into the Timcast studio after I got fired and snagged it while I think they were off doing something, and it became mine. Let's see. Robert Shaw says, true, you're not other shows because you're better. Thank you, Robert Shaw. I appreciate that a lot. His name is Joe. His name is upside down. It's kind of fun. Says, thank you. Just gave me a super chat. Robert Shaw says, Ian spins it. Oh, that's funny because everyone seems to think he's like discount me when we are nothing alike at all. Not even close. We are not the same person. And it's almost insulting that people would even compare the two of us together. Virtual is trust. Thank you for that $5 super chat. Didn't even say anything. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my show. Farm Engineer, thank you for joining me. Always a pleasure to have you on.
Oh, I love your community. I love your channel, and I love being on here. Thank you so much for having me, Adam.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. I will see you next time. And everyone, thank you for joining. I will be back, of course, tomorrow here on The Crigler Show. You all have a wonderful, wonderful night. All right.